Good evening and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk. I am Andrea Collins White, Let's Talk co host. You have supported, motivated, loved, and cheered us on from Let's Talk's conception until this evening as we celebrate one full year of Let's Talk broadcasting. We're excited about tonight's guests and topics. So, as always, I invite you to sit back, enjoy, and be sure to post your comments early in tonight's broadcast. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Let's Talk 1943 on any and all social media platforms. Now, let's meet tonight's platform guests. I'm excited. Our first guest lives a life that is spirit driven, faithfully fulfilled, and passionately purposeful. He and his beautiful wife are the parents of four wonderful children. Please give a Let's Talk welcome to Antoine Hall. Next, we have a happily married husband for almost 20 years with three delightful children. He is the vice president for community based services in the field of child welfare. Please say hello to Warren Kent.
Hey everybody, I'm here for you. Let's talk.
Having faced violence, murder, and gang activities throughout his early childhood through adolescence, our guest was able to tap into his intrinsic motivation and move forward to become a successful school administrator, certified life coach, motivational speaker, and mentor. He has a passion for inspiring and showing young people that regardless of the struggle, there is a way out of their challenges that will catapult them into a successful future. Host of the weekly podcast Daily K and known as one of Houston's most sought after speakers in education and advocacy, let's welcome Kendrick Thomas.
Oh, that was the crowd. Like that was going crazy. Well, I had to realize that was me. Like, no, thank you. Honored to be here tonight. Look forward to sharing with everyone.
Thank you. Welcome, Kendrick. Our final guest for the evening has devoted over 20 years of service to judicial and court support, managing nonprofit social service agencies, as well as a concert and events planner and promoter. Please welcome Phi Beta Sigma's own Arnold Jackson.
Let's talk, y'all. It's Johnson. Let's talk, y'all. I'm ready.
And now let's welcome our Let's Talk crew. Give a hearty welcome to New York native and Atlanta local Let's Talk co-host Carla Morgan.
Everybody, let's talk.
Now again, everyone sit back, turn your televisions and devices up, and prepare for another informative evening as we welcome Let's Talk host Regina Smithwick.
Yes, yes, yes. It's our anniversary. It's our anniversary. Yes, 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 my Let's Talk family. This has been a beautiful round, this beautiful year. This is our year anniversary show. I'm so excited. Thank you, God, for having us to last for a year and many more to come. So welcome, welcome, welcome to another great episode of Let's Talk. 1943. Tonight's show will be something to talk about. So are you ready? Let's talk. Welcome back. Welcome back to Let's Talk 1943. So as you see, we have our panelists. We're going to be doing relationships. This was the same show we did a year ago. So I'm looking forward to getting into this. But like we always do before we start, we always have to do a prayer and ask the Lord to come in on this. So I will give it over to the moderator. Andrea, please lead us to a prayer.
Amen. Amen. Let's pray. Father, we come to you with thanksgiving in our hearts and praises on our lips. We declare and decree that tonight shall be a night filled with fun, with fellowship, and with purposeful conversations. We pray, God, that the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts will be acceptable in your sight. God, you are our strength and you are our Redeemer. Amen.
Amen, amen,
Right.
amen. All right, y'all ready? Oh, let's go ahead and get into it, y'all. So we have a good mixture of panelists today. We have married, we have single, we have divorced, we have, everybody on here tonight. So this is going to be a great conversation. So let's go ahead and we're going to go with the first question, and then I'll throw the question over to, I'll get my nephew in first. You going to be ready? I'm going to throw it at you. Okay. So when you date, are you a traditional dater, or are you willing to try something new?
I'm always willing to try something new, far from traditional, because I'm not dating the same person if I'm dating again. So it's going to be a different person. It's going to be different things.
All right. So even for the married people, I still ask you, because if you still have to date in your marriage. You still dating, you still got to do. So Warren,
Exactly.
you want to take that?
So I got 3 kids, so there ain't much dating going on with us. Let me tell you. I'll tell you what just happened today. So we went to Chuck E. Cheese with the kids and my sister-in-law and her boyfriend or her fiance, and they took the kids and walked around Chuck E. Cheese, and me and my wife sat at a table together. That was a date. We had a date for an hour. It was amazing. So I am a traditional and out the box dater. It's never we can do it.
But see, that's good though, Warren, because you took advantage of that time. That time was precious. That 1 hour, meant a lot. You got to make it happen. You got to fit it in when you can, right? Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely right.
All right, AJ, you want to take on that question?
Well, it's a mixture of both traditional and, trying something new. I'm not opposed to trying anything new, because all new does is expand your horizons. It helps you grow. The one thing I'm not doing though, I'm not doing no skydiving date. I'm not jumping nobody's plane. No, not gonna happen. I'll wait down on the ground till you get there. I'll take pictures. I'll take a video. I'm not jumping out of a plane. I know people who've done it. They're like, oh, it's so exhilarating. That's your life experience, not mine. I'm not jumping out no plane. But no, I love learning new things. I love to learn historical things. So one place I've never been is Savannah, Georgia. People tell me I would love it there because it's a very historical city. But that's something good to experience with someone else, and it's good to have these experiences together. There's certain things I haven't done because I'd rather do it with someone I'm trying to grow with in a relationship. I've never been on a cruise. I'd rather do that with someone that I'm growing with. I haven't been to the African American Museum in DC. I want to do that with someone and make it a special event. So I'm a little bit of both, traditional and trying something new.
All right, Kenneth, you're next. What do you think?
Look, you got to be a little bit of both, I think, in these days, right? We was at a point where we couldn't go outside, and so single people really didn't want to stay in the house alone. But how do you get creative? So that looks like maybe we're now going to the park, or we may be jumping on Zoom. You're thinking about I'm an Uber Eats your food to you, right? And so then now I'm paying for dinner still. We jumping on, maybe we catching something online, catching us a little show or something, but something where we could talk. I'm still doing my part as far as paying for our meal, getting us covered. So just pieces like that where now I don't think traditional really will get you where you want to go if you're trying to stay safe or something like that. So got to be a little bit of both on my end.
That's a good point. That's a great point. I mean, and that's so creative too. You do the Uber Eats and surprise her with a meal, and they do have the streaming now that you could watch together. It's like you could do it together on the same, it plays at the same time, right? So it's just like y'all watching it together. So it really is. My Let's Talk crew, y'all have anything to say about this?
I agree. I'm open to dating. I'm a single person out here. So yeah, I definitely am open to try different things. I'm not traditional. and more. I'm more like, let's do something adventurous. Let's discover things together, like Arnold said. Yes, absolutely. Or AJ.
You can call me anything you want, as long as you don't call me to pay your bills.
Okay.
You know what?
Okay.
Oh
You know
my
what?
goodness. You know what? And I'm going to. I agree. I agree. You know, I am married, and actually tonight after the broadcast, we do have a date. And our date is going to be right here at home. He said, "I don't. Neither one of us are going to be in the kitchen tonight. He's going to go. He's going to grab a steak. He's going to grab me a piece of salmon, and we're going to have a nice little dinner. You know, watch a movie together. So we're now grandparents. So you know, things look a little differently for us, but we still try to keep it spicy and do our little things. You know, sometimes we go out, sometimes we have date night in. So it just depends on the mood.
Yeah, I think I agree with most of the single people because I am single. I think it's great to do things differently and try new things because it does expand you and it does make you see that person in different lights. You know, because a lot of times that dinner and movie is played.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to do, but you can't talk in the movie theater. You're eating, so you can't really talk while you're eating. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you get like little conversations during the night, and you really don't get a chance to really explore. So when you do things that's outside of the box, it helps you start conversations too. Just like you were saying, going to the museum. That's beautiful because you could talk about history, talk about what you, and you can kind of see where they come from, what they believe in, what their morals are, the standards are, and you get a lot of information out of that stuff. So it's not just that, but you collecting data as you dating. You know, that's what dating is, collecting data. So you got your mouth full of food, you got your mouth full of popcorn, you're in the dark, can't talk, and you go home and talk about, okay, he's cool. Like, how do you know that? You haven't talked.
Right. So it sounds like you're talking early stages of dating. That's what
Or
it's
different types of stages. Like when you're married, you know, like you said, you got to keep reinventing, you know, your dating. You want to keep it fresh and keep it, you know. And for us single people who are out there, we got to kind of open our minds and expand our horizons when it comes to dating, especially when you, like you said, Kenneth made a good point. You want to stay safe, you know, in dating, and especially you want to try to. Well, we're gonna get into this question too later on about dating more than one person. We're gonna get in that in a second. But you know, to date people, you know, you kind of want to be safe. You want to live to see the next date. You know what I'm saying? So,
But like you mentioned, like during a dinner, you're busy eating, not really getting to know them. I find that if my first date with someone is out to dinner, I never finish my food because I'm always trying to be attentive to what they're saying. I never want to make them think I'm not being attentive to them. So most of the time, it's coming home with me because I'm so attentive to what they're saying. By the time I go to eat it, it's cold. So now I got to take it home and warm it up. So
sure,
you don't tell them to pass you the hot sauce.
I don't eat that stuff. I don't eat hot sauce. You will never find hot sauce in my house.
I get that.
And you know what, Regina, I have found that movie going, although I get your point where, you know, if you're getting to know someone, the movies may not be the most advantageous place because you can't have that talking. However, I do find it depends on you and the person you're with, because a lot of times when my husband and I watch movies, um afterwards we have a conversation. If it's not that night, it's the next day, or so we have a conversation. And so like, so what did you get out of that movie? Like, you know, tell me about when this and this scene, when this happened. That's another way that you can get to know someone's thought processes, you know what I mean? Like how they handle situations, you know what I mean? So like, how did you feel when he smacked that woman in the movie or whatever? Like, how did you think, who do you think was wrong or whatever? So that's a way that you can really get to know someone on a date. You know, just how would you deal with that situation in that scene? So
Look, you be looking at like, you better answer this question right, bro.
You know? Yes.
It's like, this is a trick question.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. That's good. So okay, so I'm gonna ask this to the fellas, and because the women up here, we all done it already, but I wanted to ask the fellas because we always wonder about this. You know, everybody was saying about doing your work. You know, you need to do your work. You know, especially when you kind of, I think you need to do it at all stages, not just single. I think married people need to do their work constantly, right? So a lot of times when you're single and doing your work, we always say, well, I wonder if the guys are doing their work, because you're doing all this stuff to get yourself better, and then you go out and date, and then the guy's not doing anything to improve themselves. So I'm gonna open up to the fellas because we had some good conversation now, and I was pleasantly surprised to hear the answers. So I'll go ahead and start with Warren. You want to start on this one?
I want to hear somebody else talk for her. I don't know what to say in this one.
Okay, well I'll go to Kenneth because he had a good one. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, when it talks about doing the work, for myself, I've been in counseling for, man, I want to say since 2016. So when you're thinking about the progression of starting maybe twice a month and going down to like every 3 weeks, or now to the point where we may get together once a month or we may skip. But that's only because of the work that I've been doing, the progress that I've been making, and the intentionality of coming out of those counseling sessions with something. So, of course, being able to do that work is important. And always trying to, whether it's being the best on my job or it's being the best in my relationships, always trying to get that struggle. Keep that struggle down, right? And keep that knowledge going, keep that communication up. But I think it all takes putting in that work on the back end, because if you don't have that skill set, then your relationship will struggle because of those pieces.
That's true. That's true. So, my nephew, you want to go ahead? You want to chime in on
Yeah,
that?
I will. The thing that I've been working on with me is my spirituality, as well as expectations and limitations on other people, because I can't put them on other people, because you'll end up disappointed, let down. So that's been my main thing, is working on them things, because I told you before, I always had the thing with expecting people to react or do things the exact same way that I would. And being a newlywed is really a test of what I'm trying to do with myself.
Right. Yeah, you talk about. I don't understand. Why do you do that? Like, I don't get that. Like, who does that? Who does that? Who does that? Like, you know how you be like, who does that? Like,
Exactly. It makes you frustrated.
It does. It does. AJ.
Yes, I mean, working on yourself is to me a part of growing, and I was blessed to grow up in a 2-parent household, so I had a very strong father that I paid attention to. My father was not a man of many words, but his actions were always great, and so that was my bar to measure myself. And I had a tradition of, like, New Year, as celebrating the New Year coming in, I would always sit and reflect, like, okay, how did I do this year? Personally, spiritually, mentally, different aspects, and where do I need to grow to improve? Where can I improve here? Where can I improve there? It's got to be more than 6 months now. It's more like, every 3 weeks now. Always thinking like, how did I handle that situation? What could I have done better? I think about that in relationships. This relationship failed. What did I do in that relationship that could have been better? Because at the end of the day, no matter how good of a man that we think we are, none of us are perfect, and, we need to evaluate ourselves and what can we do to become a better man. There's only one perfect man that ever walked here, but how can we become better men? How can we better serve our community? How can we better serve our family? How do we prepare ourselves? I'm single, never been married. How do I prepare myself for when that woman comes into my life, that I feel that she's the one I want to spend the rest of my life with? So, and there's never a perfect answer. We're going to make mistakes along the way, because that's life. But from each mistake, we should be able to grow from that mistake and be able to be, again, you have to look yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself. You can't lie to yourself. If you're a dog, then you say, you know what? I'm a dog. I was wrong. You ain't got to say it to nobody else, but you can say it to yourself. You're the only one that counts. Like, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore. Maybe I need to watch that, the next time around. You have to have honest conversation with yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in the same place at 60 that you were at 20.
Right. Years doesn't make the difference sometimes. People are like, well, he's 50, he should know better. I'm like, there's a lot of little boys and little women walking around here at 50 and 60 years old. If they keep doing the same thing, like you said, right, they could be the same mental capacity as they was at 25, at 50. Like, it doesn't change unless you work on yourself. So that's the only way it's going to change.
I mean, there was a time where I had a hard time saying to someone, you know what, I was wrong. I apologize. I shouldn't have said that to you. There was a time where I would not say that. I'd be like, you know what, this will pass. She'll forget about it.
Mhm.
But then it came to a point where I'm like, you know what, the more mature and responsible thing to do is to acknowledge your shortcoming and the growth in your shortcoming. And if that person is the person that you want to in your life, then who are you going to be transparent to? Be transparent to that person, because that's the only way you as a unit are going to grow. Well, obviously it didn't work because we didn't grow. We went the separate ways, but each each time I never retreated from that. One thing I'll always be is honest. You know, and whether the honesty creates a closer bond or makes you think, oh, you know what, maybe we should just stay friends. At the end of the day, they won't be able to say, you know what, AJ's full of lies. AJ's full of this. You were honest. I can't beat you for being honest.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just that that person maybe wasn't the right one, but you was able to be transparent and honest about that. Anybody else have anything to say about that?
I just wanted to say, just going back and thinking about, talking about those years and just going through the cycle. As I stated earlier, if we do not have those skills, then how do we simply grow in that relationship? We think about us loving the way we loved as kids. And so as a man growing up, as a young boy, I never did get that emotional intelligence conversations or how do you grow your emotional IQ. And so the day that I learned that I need somebody else to talk to me about this and then being able to go and use those skills was kind of the day that my life changed and relationship started to change. But it was still saying that I want to be intentional about having that emotional intelligence so that now, as when I grew up, it may have been anger or screaming or something. The first thing was my go-to because that maybe what was in my household, but now it's being able to sit down and be that active listener and sometimes not fix, but still just being able to listen and comprehend and then do.
That's a good point. Good point. And I'm going to piggyback off that intentional. So we're going to talk about that. So what are you intentionally, for the ones that's single, are you intentionally dating? Are you intentionally dating? You might want to go with that one.
Okay, well,
could you break that down? Break that down.
Okay, so intentionally dating is if you're dating towards marriage, you have a purpose in dating. You're dating to be married. You're intentionally dating. You're not just dating just to be casual. You're not just dating to just see how it goes and let's see how it flies. Like you're going into this person is saying, look, my intentions are to get to know you, and if this works out and this goes the way it's supposed to go, I want to be married. I want to get married. So I want to intentionally work on this. So you're actually putting your focus in that one person. You're focusing on getting to know them for that purpose. So first of all, do you believe in that? And then secondly, are you doing that? Are you intentionally dating? I obviously not, because everybody was like, okay, I need you to elaborate. So
I was going to say, no, just to clarify,
Warren knew what I was talking about.
No, I am. No, seriously. Trying to do one person at a time, just making sure that I'm able to focus all of the energy there. But the biggest thing about that is knowing how valuable that time is, knowing that there are no other prospects being seen at this time. So then having that discipline to say, when it is time to get out of here, when I recognize that it is not working, I got to go. Right. But I think that's a part of that being intentional versus letting that linger and starting something at the end and then finally just letting it dissipate. I think now it's about being communicative and then moving when it's time to go.
That's right.
Know when to say when.
Yes.
When to say when. But that's smart. If you want to intentionally date one person because you want to focus, and I don't know if it's because we getting older or we just learning or we getting smarter with this thing. Like I think at one time we just thought that I'm gonna date 3 or 4 people and just kind of see how it is, and just jump around. I think when you were younger, I had that time. Maybe it made sense back then, but now I was like, I don't even see you have the time to even. I can't even fathom dating 3 or 4 people. I don't know how that's possible at this age.
You get older. You get older. When you get older, you kind of get away from that. So you mature, right? And you get in the point that you recognize, okay, I'm not going to do that. That was back then. This is another phase of my life. So now I'm going to focus on the right person, right? And this is my personal opinion. I don't think you should go no more than 6 months to a year. I don't think you should waste nobody else's time. If you at a year and you don't know yet, just go somewhere else. Because if it's taking 2 to 3 years for you to make up your mind, after that, that's telling right there. Going that far. My wife, I'm 19 in now, going on 20, and 6 months we were engaged. You know, and it was something that I knew, and I was like, I'm not gonna waste your time. I told her that in the first day, I'm not gonna waste your time. You're not gonna have to waste my time. 6 months, we're gonna meet again. We're gonna talk, sit down, and we're gonna decide. And I'm gonna let you know what I feel. You're gonna be honest about it. And we both agreed. We're like, yes, we need to be together. We both love each other. We're gonna move forward together and stuff like that. And listen, 19, like I said, 20 years later, you know what I'm saying? Not saying we have no ups and downs, but I mean, basically, you should know if this is the right one up front. I'm saying no more than a year. Don't waste somebody's time. Don't put them on that.
I gotta agree with the brother right there, because me and my wife, 6 months in, we was married. Same thing. We had a conversation. It was like, okay, are we just gonna wait to look for a fault to not work, or are we gonna move on what we feel right now?
Wow.
That's what we done.
Yeah, man. That's
so I think I'm a little different.
Yeah,
I think I'm a little different.
Go ahead, tell us your difference.
So I think in my younger years, and when I say younger years, I say under 40. I used to tell this joke all the time. There's an 18-month probationary period. The first 6 months, you're meeting a representative. The second 6 months, people, you know, they let the walls down a little bit. If they're crazy, it comes out between month 12 and 18.
Ooh.
Well, now I'm getting old. You see these grays in my little goatee here, looking like Christmas tinsel. I don't have 18 months. I mean, with the COVID, I might not be here in 18 months. So I might entertain conversation with more than one person, because it doesn't take me long to pick up in conversation if you're going to be around for a while. But I can understand the 6 months to a year. I'm more leaning towards that year than 6 months. But my to say intentional, my intention is to get to know someone and see if we can move to that level. I haven't ruled out. I mean, I'm 56 years old, so I never thought I'd be 56 and not married. I was raised in a 2-parent household. Family was everything. So that's always what I wanted, a family with children. That didn't happen. So at 56, no, I'm not having children at 56. I'm not going to PTA meetings at 70 talking about, I'm AJ's father. They thinking I'm his grandfather. But
hey, that's how it happened too.
But I love family. I love spending time with people. I love having that unit as a couple. I always identify myself. I'm a hopeless romantic. That's me. My goal with my partner is to put smiles on her face. I don't want you to have a day where there's not a smile on your face. I want to make sure that you have a smile on your face. If you had a bad day, I want to make sure that when that day ends, you remember the smile that your partner, AJ, put on your face. And so I date with the intention of getting to know someone. And if we move to that level, I'm all for it. I joke with now, if I don't get married, I'm okay. I'm single. I'm okay with it. But if you hear me say I'm getting married, then I've met the person that my space is not complete unless they're in it.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you for joining Love Connection. We'll be back in 2 and 2.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, post your
Put the ad out. Put the ad out.
I know. Well, if anyone's interested,
Listen, I live on the East Coast. I'm not flying more than 3 hours to see you.
Put it all out there.
I got health benefits.
Hey.
I got a house. I pay the mortgage. You just come in here and pay the utilities. Come on.
You messed up there. You messed up there.
And if you got kids, they got to be at least 13 or 14.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
All
I
right.
got the list ready.
Listen.
Oh,
He knows
my
what he
goodness.
wants.
Look,
Oh,
hey,
goodness.
shoot your shot, AJ. Shoot your shot.
Listen. if you don't market yourself, who's gonna market you?
Amen. You're right.
If you start a business, you should be the best marketer for your business. Well, I think I'm a good black man, and I'm gonna be the best marketer for me. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes like everybody else. You know, I got that switch too. If you say something the wrong way, I'm gonna flip on you. But you know, I know how to come back.
You're about to mess it up.
Oh, we all got that switch.
He already told you ain't gonna see that till 12 and 18 though. Between 12 and 18, so don't worry about that.
Right, you can sit down in hell until like 12 to 18.
Yeah.
So, you know.
We all got that switch. Like, wait a minute, what did he say? What did she say? Listen, women got it too. What did he say to me? That switch comes on.
But I think that the dating, the time frame is based on your transparency and your vulnerability and your
right.
It got nothing to do with the time. Like a lot of people get hooked on this. Like if you tell somebody, even like when my nephew came to me, he was just like, you know, I got married. It was like, you can't get like, who are you to say you don't even know her for this long? You know, it's like you don't know their relationship. You don't know what they did, and they did the talking and whatever. And even Warren, you know, the same thing. You know, because while I knew about Trudy, next minute I know they was planning a wedding. Like, but I know Warren's character. I know my cousin's character, and I know he was not going to marry anyone that was not fit for that role. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know his character. If you know people's characters and stuff, it's kind of like don't go so much on that time frame. Because I'll tell you this much, I always use this example. Ted Bundy. If Ted Bundy was dating these women, you think that, you know what I'm saying, he told you what he needed to tell you. He didn't tell you he was a killer, right? People are going to tell you what they want to tell you. It doesn't matter you with them for 1 year or for 20 years. If they don't want to tell you that they killed somebody last week, you're not going to know they killed anybody. You know what I'm saying? So you can't really base it on just time. It's the person you're dealing with, and that's when you do your work and do your homework. You know what questions to ask. You know what to look for. You know the red flags. Then that will help you lower that time frame will be short. You could do that in that 6-month period.
But Regina, like I said before, you meet people's representative. So I could be a mass murderer, and you could ask me questions. If I'm a good actor, I know how to get around those questions and make you think, "Oh my God, he's amazing." But so you gotta wait. But people can't act. They can't keep that mask up too long, because sooner or later things start to show, and you're like, wait a minute. And I'm the type of person where I hate when I figure out, you know, this is not really gonna work. I really don't like that, because like I feel like, man, I was really hoping this could, you know, be the one. But I also am strong enough to recognize that I'm not going to belabor this and waste my time either.
Yeah, but I think it's a perfect storm. I think it's everything put together. Cookie, I want you to talk about that, because about you and your dating when you're dating your husband now. That it's like a perfect storm. You just kind of have to do your work, understand your assignment, and kind of go in there and have a purpose driven. Like you have to really, like, just like you go to work, you train at work, just like you train on your body when you go to the gym. You have to train to date. You have to train to know to look for. You got to put that same energy into that, just like you do anything else. So, Cookie, you want to talk about that?
Okay. So when I'm actually, this is my second marriage. I was married previously 14 years. And I had 2 children. So when I divorced, I put all of my attention into my children. I was the one at all the AAU basketball games, the tennis, the modeling, the whatever they were doing, I was involved. I was that person, and I was intentional in keeping my focus on them. Did I go out with people? Yes, I did, but I never brought them around my children, because I did not want to introduce them to someone who was not going to be a forever person in their lives. So I stayed single, intentionally stayed single for 11 years. And when Regina said do the work, I learned to, during that time, to get to know me, and to get not only get to know me, but to love me, to love spending time with me. Something that I've never been comfortable with was going out to dinner by myself, sitting in a place, eating by myself. That's a place of discomfort for me. So I would be intentional. Every Friday, I took myself on a date. I would dress up, and I would go someplace where I would spend good money to have a good meal by myself. I would take myself out, have the full 3, 4, 5 courses, and I would go home and just watch a movie or whatever, because I wanted to, first of all, appreciate me. And until I could appreciate me, then I couldn't take this broken person to someone else. So 11 years I spent working on me and getting myself together. And when the time came, who God sent me, I was not looking for this person. He was not looking for me. It, and it's not always in the package that you think it's going to come in, but be open to that. I will say, be open to who God is bringing to you. And I was listening to you all, and you were saying, 6 months, 1 month, 18 months, however long. He and I were sitting watching TV, and he just looked at me, and this was maybe a month and a half in, and he said, "I want at least 50 years with you." And it caught me off guard. I was like, "What?" He just took my hand, looked in my eyes, and said,
Oh, that's right.
I want 50 years with you."
That's right.
I said, "Okay." And he was very honest. He said, "I have some doors I need to close, but I want to spend the rest of my life with you." He was open. He was honest. And I said, "Well, you do what you have to do, because what I'm not going to do, what a non-negotiable for me is to do this one and that one and the other and me. And I'm not doing that." So he said, "I got some doors I need to close." And within a week, he was like, "Let's go. Let's go."
Don't
So
take a whole day to recognize sunshine.
That's right. That's right.
we've been together ever since. But it's important to put that work in. And I'm always jotting notes, and when we have our broadcast, and there's been so much that I've heard people say. One thing that really resonated with me was that was a comment of fault searching. Fault searching.
Fault searching.
Fault searching. And I would just caution, this is just me, I would caution us in waiting too long, because they're going to be, if you have someone, you're 56, and let's say someone you're seeing is 56. That's 56 years of your way of doing things, your way of thinking, your way of rationalizing things. And then her 56 years of her background, her way of thinking, and her way of doing things. So yes, there are going to be a lot of differences. But I mean, sometimes our differences is what brings us closer. You understand what I'm saying? So and we sometimes I see in people that I talk to, and my husband and I do a marriage mentoring, relationship mentoring, and we perform, wedding ceremonies. And a lot of times it's out of fear, for whatever reason. People, see little things, and that's a deal breaker. That's the deal breaker. I don't like the way she doesn't squeeze her toothpaste from the bottom of the tube. Like little things that seem minute to one person, but are it's a big major issue for someone else. So a lot of times we look at people and we see them as faults, but are they really faults, or just something that you're just not used to? I'm still trying to get used to a lot of things that my husband does. And then, can you believe it? There are things about me that he doesn't enjoy.
Can you believe it?
Can you believe it? Like, really? So yeah. So I would just say, for just sometimes just breathe, just exhale and trust God. Right? I heard most of us up here say, if not all of us, say how we're spiritual, and we trust, we have a relationship. So, and sometimes we just have to really trust God, and that's not easy always, but yeah.
And also being able to trust yourself, and learn yourself enough to, like Gina said, notice the red flags and things that come up, and not ignoring those feelings, and trusting that something don't feel right. It's most likely not right, and following that.
Not right.
That's what I have had to learn to do these last few years. Yeah. So I'm at that point.
What you're saying is, Carla, you just hit on a good point, because I worked as a facilitator for domestic violence groups for a couple of years. And one of the things we really talked about is, when you recognize a red flag, do not ignore it, because the discussion around that red flag can do one or two things. Let you know that, wait, you know what, we can work through this, or you know what, I can't do this.
Sure. Right.
But if you ignore the red flag, then things just tend to mount higher and higher. And before before you know it, it explodes.
Exactly.
So don't ignore the red flag, and that's
and
that's
trust
a
yourself
very,
that it's a red flag. Don't
yes.
don't second guess yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
but it takes a lot of self work to get to that point to where you know what? No, I'm not imagining this. This is a deal breaker for me, and I have to move from here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, but you just hit it on the head, Colin. That was one of the things I was going to say is because sometimes it's not that you ignore the red flag. Sometimes your morals and standards are not high enough to be alert to the red flag. You see what I'm saying? So it's not. Sometimes people don't know. They don't know that's a red flag, especially like when you deal with narcissists or deal with people who are like intentionally going in to, take a predator. You know what I'm saying? And they saying the right things at the right times, and you kind of just thinking like, oh, you got something going on with you, and you just need somebody to tell you something, need somebody to validate you, and they did it, and now you take them in, and then before you know it, here you go, snowball effect. So sometimes we don't even know it's red flags at the time. That's why you got to do your work to go, okay, I heard that before. But he said it a little differently, but it's the same foundation. There's something in there, and that takes skill. And I think you said something about skill. It takes skill for you to know these things. It don't come overnight. Relationships do not come overnight. You got to learn. This is like a class. You got to learn skills when you date. Dating takes time. Anybody else?
I just want to say I feel for all y'all who are out there dating during these times. It is.
You look like you're gloating.
It's real.
I really do. Between COVID and between this internet and social media and all that, it's got to be rough for you to be out there dating because you are.
Oh yeah, social media is a whole nother beast.
Exactly. You're getting the rep. Just like AJ said, you are getting the representative, and it's coming in different forms. The social media with these platforms, with all the things that you can learn all the stuff that you feel is good, and then meet somebody totally different when you get them alone and stuff. So I feel for you. I didn't have to go through it, but I feel for you. Just want
That's
you to
so true.
Holly do it in there. He said, I didn't have to go through it.
Yeah.
Look, COVID has changed everything. Like COVID, and I had to force myself out of it. COVID made me a couch potato because you couldn't go anywhere. So I'm sitting home on the weekends or after work and watching Netflix series. I got hooked into watching series. Okay, what's the next series coming now? What am I going to watch now? And when the numbers started going down, it was hard to push myself into going out. Because I remember I would walk in places, and if somebody didn't have a mask on, I'm walking out. I had to feel comfortable in a restaurant to sit in a restaurant to eat. I would go to the grocery store in the morning when it was for the elderly because I didn't want to be around a whole bunch of people. It took work to try and work my way back out into not being a couch potato. And just as I'm about to do it, around Christmas time, these numbers started skyrocketing again. I'm like, here we go again. So COVID changed a lot, and you got to be able to recognize your movement and how you're moving. So for Warren, he don't have to date. He ain't got to worry about it. His date is sitting next to him every day.
Like, have y'all seen the Tinder swindler? The Tinder swindler.
What is that?
Oh my God!
I heard something about that.
Yeah.
I saw that name flying around.
Look, that was my research for tonight. Today. So, when you think about meeting that representative, or you're thinking about somebody saying the right things, this brother would come in, and it's kind of like a Ponzi scheme, how it goes one person after another, but everybody connected. So he'd be talking to one lady, getting her to give him thousands of dollars. And then the next lady who's going to be the victim, he takes her, like one lady, it was the first date. She went on a private plane. They went out to a 5-star hotel. And so all that happened. She played it for the first month. And then after that first month, and this is where those red flags come in. He asked her for $5,000, right? And so then he started sliding in more. And we want to say within a few months' time, she was up to $250,000 that she had given to this guy, taking out loans, selling her car, trying to sell her house. It was just so much. But like you say, it can happen so fast if they tell you the right things. So you have to have that skill of knowing how to be selective. And then, like I said before, getting out of their own time because, man, he got a lot of them.
I think the first time you came to me asking for $5,000,
asking for money, period, $5. I'm looking at you crazy. I'm sorry.
But see, that's when someone who
asked for $5,000.
They do, but you got to think he had took on a jet.
But he came in with all that. See, I see what he did. So he came in like, oh, I took you on a private jet, all of this stuff. So I got the money. I just need to kind of get over for a second. Just give me the 5G and I'm gonna give it right back to you. See, because he showed himself to be that person, and that illusion of being. I mean, I would be kind of questioning him anyway, going on a jet for the first date. That's kind of.
Listen, I don't know you. I don't know this pilot. Where we going?
Some of these, you know the pilot too.
Right. I need to know the pilot because I don't know you. You're not covered under American Airlines. You're not covered under Delta. I need to know who you are.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
She said YOLO.
Well, that goes, the type of women. Yeah, it's the type of women he was going after. That was impressed by that kind of stuff.
But those are the
some women like that flued out stuff and everything.
Yeah, they knew though. They know. They can look at your profile. They can see exactly how you do your pictures. They can see what you write. They can kind of read through all that because a lot of times we think we hiding stuff. Because I know I did. I thought I was hiding stuff. You could look fly and do all of that. Those guys saw my insecurities right through me. It didn't matter how good I looked and what I was saying. I could have a little roll my eyes and twist my head and did all this and like whatever and all that. He read right through all that because you can't hide from who you are. You could camouflage for a minute, but it's going to eventually surface. If you have insecurities or issues, it's going to come right through. And that's like we could see guys, we could see guys have insecurities, we could see it, it's not going to hide but so long. So that's a good point. Colin, we have a couple of questions. Comments. We're going to go through them.
Yes.
Hey, Neil.
Positivity says hello, everyone.
Hey, Neil.
Nanette Glover says red flags and trust your gut.
That's right.
Absolutely. She also says discernment. Donna Pazant says, okay, you're not getting any money from me. Exactly.
I see how he did it though. That made a lot of sense. He came in with somebody else's money. Basically, he's doing like a Ponzi scheme. Like he's kind of like flipping his money, with other women. And he took a lot. He learned. It took a lot to learn that one.
Yeah, but it was cold. When I tell you that movie, he was the cold same. And like you think how the old school player, same text message to the ladies, same videos to the ladies, same scheme that was just stretched out. But like you said, being caught up in the superficial at the beginning, it took so much away from him.
I think that's one of the things that you have to learn too when you're really intentionally dating for marriage. You don't want that. That's flash and dash. I used to fall for that flash and dash all the time. Flash and dash get you every time because you just see
glamour.
Huh?
Fell for the glitz and glamour.
Yeah, that flash and dash boy, that dude, woo! Yeah, he come in. But after a while, when it's good, but when it's bad, it's bad. There's no middle. With flash and dashers, there's no middle. There's no peace. It's always high or completely low. There's never no middle with flash and dasher. But when you first see them, Lord Jesus. Anyway, so what? Okay, let's get into this one. We'll go ahead and just do this one real quick. Y'all. Sex while dating. All right, we're gonna keep it G, but sex while dating.
It's already.
So I'm gonna hold my comment because I already told them how I felt about it, but y'all can go ahead. And who want to be the bold one today and start this one off?
I go. So it's been a long time since I was out there dating and stuff like that. But I was having sex. I was having sex throughout the whole time I was dating. I had sex even with my wife, and then who's my wife now. But prior to that, we hope that. Whoa. But the thing about it was, we even when we started dating and we were having sex, we said this is not right. We came together and we said we need to really go before God and start this relationship out right and make sure that we are going to go in and it's not going to be just about sex. Because you got to understand, if you go into a relationship and you thinking that this is the right one and sex is the top of the list, that's going to change. You know, if you want this relationship to last, and you want that marriage to last, that's going to change. So you can't have that. So we kind of talked about it, and then stopped. And I think we went about, you know, while we got engaged at 6 months in, it took us another 6 months before we got married. Right? For that 6 months, we did nothing. You know, and it was really about trying to get to know each other even more and making sure that this was the right thing, and that this was something that God had for us, and we realized that it was. And I would say, I know it's hard. I know, you know, people are going to be like, that's crazy. I'm never going to do it. I would advise everybody not to. I would tell you right now, even with as good as my marriage has been for the 19 years and everything, I would have benefited more if I did not have sex before marriage. And I, you know, it's in the Bible. And now, of course, as I'm a man of faith, I read the Bible and I'm like, yeah, I wish I'd have read this early and believed it. But I mean, but I understand why. I understand why, because there is a way that you can think when you have sex out of marriage. You think differently about sex. And then when you go into marriage, if it doesn't match up with what the way you thought it was, it becomes hard. It becomes troubling. And it's like, okay, something's wrong. It ain't nothing wrong. You were thinking wrong. So I would advise it. And then, you know, I'll just have anybody out there who's thinking differently, do what you want with it. But I'm just telling you what I experienced. It would have benefited me if I did.
Absolutely.
All right. Anyone else?
I agree with the brother halfway.
So you sort of pregnant.
No, because when I talk, I'm talking on me, so I can just do me.
That's right.
With me, sex with dating is important. It's very important, because if I'm potentially going to be with you for the rest of my life, I feel like I got to have an idea of what it's going to at least be like. I'm a sexual being.
Let's just be real about it.
That's me. Like when I met my wife, she had some pretty toes. And I said, good God Almighty. Yeah. But listen, but once we got past that, it got to the intellect, what's on her mind and where she's headed at in life, where she's at currently in life. But I know me, and I knew what will hold me also, because I can't go in some lying or being a representative, as the brother AJ say. I wasn't being a representative. Yeah, I'm never gonna be.
I mean, that's
understandable. Sex is important.
Well, nobody's saying sex is not important. That's not.
I'm talking while dating.
I know. I'm about to get on that. Hold on, nephew. Give me a second. I'm about to tell you. Listen to Auntie. Auntie gonna teach you something today. Listen, sex is being important is what it is. We all know that. That's why God created it. It's an important part of a marriage. It's supposed to be a part of marriage. Now, like I said the other day, we all said we want God-fearing women. We want God women. We want women that believe in God, and then they believe in God. They follow God's book, and then now you're going to question their following the book. So that's being contradictory, right? So you're saying, I want you to be God-fearing, but not for the sex part. Not the sex part. You just get that part out and do everything else God-given, but not the sex part. So when you really think about it, you're not doing their justice, because you telling them to go away from God. Because God in the book says not to have sex before a marriage, right? So you got to make your mind up. You got to make your mind up, because you're going to go in there and be the Christian you're supposed to be, and say you want that God-fearing woman. You want her 100%, not 85%, and get the benefits out of her before you get married. Now, don't get me wrong. I was out there too. I just got this a couple years ago. It's not like I wasn't, I wasn't doing whatever either, like Warren said. But learning and really, really, really figuring this thing out, it's so worth it to wait for someone who has the same mindset as you. Because first of all, the reason why it's set up that way to me, because you're focusing on that person on other things. When you put the sex in there, it changes the whole mindset of the relationship. That's why he asked you to do it afterward. That was the whole point. Because it's not supposed to be. And I'm gonna get Cookie to go here and talk about his soul ties, that she could wrap it up for us with his soul ties. So you're bringing in all these people in this relationship. You have to be patient and trust God. If God had said to you he's going to give you the right one, you're telling him you don't trust them by trying to go and get it and figure it out yourself by having sex with that person. You're trying to figure them out. You're doing his job.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. All right.
I heard you.
I see Kendrick has his hand raised.
I just said, look, that just took me back to school because I got a question. What happens when we get married and I don't like it though? What
do you mean you don't like it?
Like we
you got
want to have sex. I mean, like if we wait this whole time and then we marry, it ain't like just no getting out this thing now. But what if we don't connect in that way? And you the person I got to connect with for the rest of my life. We can't really force it to connect. So then what do?
You work on it together. It's a mutual thing because I guess my question would be, you're saying, oh, we're not connecting. You're basing that on what? Are you basing that on the way Shirley rock your boots? Or are you basing it on the way that Becky rocked your boots? Are you basing it on the way that Mary rocked your boots? So when you look at those soul ties, so what we go in, because we've been with this one, that one, and the other, we never really disconnect ourselves from those people that we become spiritually connected with, because sex is a spiritual act. Let's go there. So we become connected with these people, and then we go into the person who God sends us with these expectations. Because I remember the way she would do, she'd do jiggle, jiggle, jerk, and that thing just turned me on. But you just jerk, jiggle, and that's not what I do.
Look, I'm like, man,
that's I can't speak for the masses of man, but I know I speak for some. I know we don't compare or expect the present one to be like the past one, or else we would have stayed with the past one.
Not necessarily. So what you're saying, that is not good based on what? I mean, so you're with this person. Okay. I'm just saying, I'm not saying this happens with you and your wife, but you're with your wife, you're intimate with your wife, and you're able to relieve yourself, right, after being with your wife. But then you say, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good. But you, based on what? What are you basing it on? You're basing it on something. So you're still, I think you're still having these perceptions, right, up here and down here from some past experiences. You have to be basing that on something.
Right, you have to have a baseline.
Not good. You're comparing it to what? She's not good, but you're basing it on what? Because you were with this one,
like, man,
you did something different. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now you have this person who you could be, like we said, potentially with for the rest of your life, to help motivate and push you into to be the person to walk into destiny with, like the person that God has for you. And because that issue, because you're saying that it's not, you're not compatible in that way, then you're going to miss out on what God has for you. So you understand what I'm saying? So that's why it's best, like Regina said, it's best that we don't even get involved intimately. Like if we did not, like, of course, I guess all of us may say, hey, maybe we didn't do it the right way. You know what I mean? So but the way the Bible, the Holy Bible says is that we are to refrain from that until marriage, and for this reason, because we do become connected with other people. And I mean, like, in all honesty, we can think about someone, and we talked about this in another broadcast, because Carla, Gina, and I have been out of college, and AJ is our age, and I'm not sure about Warren, but we've been out of college like 30 years. We've been out of college 30 years, and you can still go back to homecoming, see someone that you used to kick it with, like really kick it with in college, in college 30 years ago, and still get some feelings when you see that person. Like, oh, it's something like, like you just cutting your eye or something, because it's a soul tie. It's a soul tie. You become connected with these people. So that's why it's best to refrain from it. But and like you stated, that's, everyone will have their own opinion. They have their own opinion. But
I want to answer your question.
But you're gonna have that regardless, unless you've never had sex before, right?
Right. That's why I said that was the original intent. It's to not have it until marriage. Right. Okay. That was why I said that. Right.
Right. But see, that's the thing about it is we all fall short because we all
have
did
done
the act
it,
before
right.
we got
Yeah.
married. So
Exactly.
Warren had a
That's
good
the point I'm
point.
trying to make.
But that's what Warren had a good point. So when you had it already, that's what Cookie is saying, that you're comparing because now you have the experiences under your belt, them soul ties. So now you got something to compare it with. It was meant for us not to do it at all. So when you with your husband and wife for the first time, y'all both don't know nothing else but each other. So you don't have nowhere to say, I don't like it. You won't know what you don't like because you haven't done it and she haven't done it. So that's what it's supposed to be like. But we all fell short and we already got those soul ties. We already got experiences. We already got these likes and all these things we want. And then we get with the person, we go, this ain't right. And then we base our relationship based on, this ain't right. And that could be the one God has for you because there's something down the road that he has for you for this woman to be in your life that's going to bring you to a whole nother level. But we're going to cut ourselves short over an act of a sexual act to cut off this beautiful person that's supposed to be in your life that God ordained in your life. Oh God, I did my work.
That's true.
Man, look.
I can give you.
I understand what y'all saying.
But it's hard. It's hard because we did it backwards. Yeah. It's going to be hard, but you have to either look. Everybody do what you got to do. If you feel that you want to do it the other way, that's going to be you because everybody got to do their own thing. But I would say to you, if you've done it that way for all this time you've been dating, why not try it God's way and see what works out? Try it. You know what I'm saying? If you keep doing it your way and keep doing it and getting the same dues and doing the same thing over and over, hitting your head, then try it. What's the worst thing that happen? Go back to the way you were doing things. But at least give him a try. You know what I'm saying? If you're God-fearing, you believe in God, just try it his way. You may be surprised. You may be shocked. But you don't know unless you try it. You know, I know people like, I want to try the merchandise. You've been trying the merchandise all this time. That's the whole point. You've been doing that. And every time you try, you add another soul tie on top of another soul tie, and then you go, well, I can't find the right one. Because you're connected to someone else that who's obviously not good enough to be in your life because they're not there now.
Yeah, I throw something else on there. I mean, the other thing, when you do have sex, and this is before marriage, and you connect with somebody else, and everything that's been said is absolutely true, but you also are basically like cheapening the experience of sex, of intimacy. You actually, when you are having sex, and especially when you're out there with your boys and everything, and you just having sex, you have no intimacy with it. It's just sex. And what happens is you can't get away from that. You can't go and say, now I had sex, now I want to have sex with intimacy. No, you already put yourself in a situation where sex is sex. There's no intimacy in it. Now you have a wife who wants to be intimate with you. You don't know how to be intimate. You can know how to have sex. You can have sex. Intimacy is not there. And that's the piece. You lose that because we cheapen what God had it planned to be. Intimacy and sex is supposed to be as one. And we have separated it. And the more people you have sex with, the further away you get from that intimacy. And I will tell you now, I'm guaranteeing you, if you go up there and get married later on and stuff like that, you will have a major challenge trying to get that intimacy back. Because you done had all these 20, 30, 40, 50 other girls out there that you done had sex with no intimacy. None at all. It was just sex. And that's what God's talking about. Wait. Because he wants you to go up there, marry the person, and make sure you have both. And then that's something that you will never be able to get anymore. Even if you out there and cheat, you're going to cheat and have sex with somebody, you won't be intimate with them because you had that intimacy with your wife. So I'm trying to tell you, that's the best way. And I wish I did have it that way. I wish I did, but I was able to get it back because we did try to rectify it and stuff like that, and we were able to get the intimacy. But I'm gonna be honest, it took a long time. It was not immediate. That I had to like chase it. I had to pray for it. And no, I'm saying I had to really like work with my wife on because I didn't know how to do it because it was just sex.
Wow. So Ken, did you get anything out of this evening?
Yeah, I did. I like the soul ties. I believe that. And the brother hit the home run when you're thinking about that intimacy versus just sex. But he ain't through with me yet. So I'm gonna keep on going. I may bring this up for my next counseling topic. There are a few ways that we can dissect this, but right now though, I ain't there yet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. Don't get me wrong. It took me a long time to get to this point. It took a long time. It's not easy. It's not an easy walk to do. It's not guaranteed. You know, it's not guaranteed, but it's worth it. I think it's totally worth it. I think it is. I really is. And like I said, I know a lot of times we do it a certain way so long. We normalize things, and especially in our head space, we normalize it. And we are flesh. We are flesh. We're gonna have those feelings. We're gonna, you gotta be careful. We had the episode about dating the Christian way, the couple who did it that way had said that they couldn't, when they went on vacation and stuff, they had to get separate rooms. They couldn't stay in the same room together because they knew what was going to happen. Or after midnight, they know they need to go home because they know what's going to happen. Like, they had to actually, really work on not getting to that point. It takes work. But at the end, don't you want the full happiness? Don't you want to be married and be married for the rest of your life and, have all that? Sometimes you have to sacrifice to get what you want later. Instant gratification, or you want to sacrifice to get something later on. That's your choice. Carla, I think we open up the floodgates because I'm seeing all these comments flying. I see paragraphs.
Yeah. That's all I'm gonna say. My mind on that. Okay. Nanette Glover says, "Listen, I said this before, and I'm not buying no damn lemon. I have to test drive before I do the right thing with them. I wouldn't test drive a car before I buy it. Same rules applies for my future husband."
Okay, Nanette Glover.
It's your opinion. All right, Nanette.
Say that then.
Hey.
That's what Let's Talk is about. Everybody got their opinion.
She says the Bible got more prostitution and pimps in some of the Bible stories. Lord.
Well, Nanette, Nanette. Now you know Nanette. He was trying to work with them, Nanette. You know it wasn't. That's right. Come on, Nanette. You stretching that one.
Adrian Hardy says, "Say so, Regina, preach." And laughing emojis. And Nanette also comes back and says, "I guess that's why the Lord haven't sent me a second husband yet. I guess I will retire my free card. LOL."
I'm glad you're coming back. I'm glad you're coming back around, Nanette. I'm glad you're coming back around.
Yes.
And then she also says, when women have sex, they sometimes attach feelings in their heart, especially if they continue to sleep with that same guy multiple times, and they Netflixing and chilling. So to her, she's in a full-blown relationship in her mind, but in his mind, it's just good sex.
Mm-hmm.
See, and then, with that comment, right? This is what I have. I believe that there's a lot of no good men that been with good women, and there's a lot of good men that been with no good women.
Yes.
And they all come with their experiences. So you got the walls up, or I ain't doing this because I got played last time. Nah, no sir. Or you got the guy that he got the bad end of the stick. She played with his heart because men get emotional too. We just don't show it as much.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But it's there. We'll talk about with our boy or something, our friend. But it happens on our end as well. But we all have to deal with it at the end of the day. It's life.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. And sometimes we do, I think, as a society, forget that that men go through those hurts. They do. They really do.
They do. And then we got to keep that in mind. And that's what I think sometimes we fall short as women. We don't really see men as being emotionally attached or emotionally involved. And we just think that, based on what we think men are supposed to be. Right. Because we think that man's supposed to be here all the time and, and don't have feelings and y'all suck it up and don't cry and all that. So I think that plays a part into it too. Right. I want to touch on Nanette's last comment. She said about how you have sex with someone several times and then you thinking in your head that it's a relationship and then they're thinking about just being sex. I think that's part of us not having these conversations and not talking to people and find out what is going on. A lot of women are scared to do that because they want to rock the boat and they just want to be able to keep that guy there. And they don't want the guy to run. So they don't want to ask him no question. It was like, well, I assume we're together because you came to my house 5 times this week. We went out to eat. We had sex a couple times. You took me to your mom's house. Yeah, you took me to your mom's house. I know we're a couple. Because why would you introduce me to your mom, if we're not together? Some people, like we were talking about, something like, yo, we would just look. I had to stop at my mom's house to get something. And you were just in the car, and I was just gonna say, yo, this is so and so, boom, 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 boom. It wasn't no big old introduction, like I don't care. You can't judge people based on stuff like that. You have to talk to them, ask them questions. So, what do y'all think about that?
That could go either way because they could act like they want that, but then it could be something totally different. It's just so I've experienced that too. They could say that that's what they want. They'll do all the right things, but then turn around like, oh, that's not what it was. I just and it's just like, yeah. So
it goes back to honest conversation.
Exactly. That's not being honest, right? A lot of people aren't honest.
If you're interested in someone, but your interest is not, as we said earlier, intentional, then you need to say that up front and give. Now I'm speaking on from the man's side. I give that woman the choice to say, yes, I'm down. No, I'm not down. Same thing, women to men. And so I can only speak for my own personal experience. There was a woman who said something to me one time, and she's married. I was not down with that. Give me a choice. Listen, I do have some morals, and I'm not doing that because I'm a firm believer in karma, and you reap what you sow.
Yes.
And if I had turned around and had relations with that married woman, and 5-10 years down the road, I'm married, how do I know that karma is not going to come back and that relations comes and has my wife steps out on me? Or the karma doesn't always have to come back to you. How about if we had children, I have a daughter, how do I know my daughter's husband's not going to step out on her? You got to be, I think this comes with maturity. You have to realize about karma is real. And how you treat people speaks volumes. And when it comes back at you, it comes back 10 times than what you gave.
Right. That's true. That karma gets you. But I think women and men too need to say when you start dating someone, my favorite question or my favorite statement is, what's your intentions with me? I ask you, what's your intentions with me? Right. And then if they go, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Good.
Well, Regina, you don't need to say that in the first 10 minutes.
No, but I'm thinking about the first couple of conversations. I need to because see, that's the thing. I think this is me. I think that if a gentleman is on the same wavelength as me, he would not be scared of that question. And if he's scared of that question, he's not meant for me. Because if I'm gonna sit there and go, well, I want to ask him, but I'm scared to ask him because if I ask him too soon, then I know that obviously that is not right. I don't feel right. I think I need to ask you, what's your intentions? Because I don't want to even start getting into conversations with you if your intention is that I just want to casually date or let's kick it and see where it goes, or I'm just not into that. I don't want to do that no more.
So again, I'm on the opposite side because I need to get to know a little bit more. So a funny thing happened. I had a blind date one time. Even though we had seen each other's pictures with texting and stuff, she texted me a picture, I texted her pictures, so we know what each other look like. So we met up at a Starbucks, and she comes in, I get whatever she's interested in drinking, and literally, I don't even know we had been in the conversation 5 minutes, and she said, well, how long are we gonna do this? And I said, me thinking, I thought she meant how long are we gonna stay here and hang out. I'm like, well, I'm free for the rest of the night, I'm good. She said, no. How long are we gonna do this dating thing? Before we get a ring or not. I said, a ring? I said, I don't even know your last name yet. She said, so how are you going to get a ring? I need to know your last name at least first. It was the funniest thing to me, but I drank my coffee quicker than I've ever drank before and went home.
But that's a little different though. That's a little different. I said, what's your intention? I didn't say I want to get married tomorrow. That's a whole other thing.
That was the weirdest thing that ever happened to me. I was like, what? Listen, I wasted putting good clothes on that day. I was back at home. But again, communication and honesty is, I say this a lot. A lot of times, things within relationships are black and white. We create our own gray areas because of a lack of honesty and lack of communication.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. I agree.
Being transparent. I agree with you. Being transparent, definitely. Carla, you want to get some of these questions, and then we'll start getting ready to wrap up.
Okay, let's see here. Lynette Glover says, well, men show your emotions more, please. I guess what you're talking about when people aren't, men, aren't
men not showing
emotional intelligence.
their emotions. Yeah. And that's true. There's a lot of men that don't have emotional intelligence. A lot. I'm not saying all, but a lot. Anyway, but I agree. Regina, communication is key in any type of human relationships.
That's right.
Absolutely. She said, yes, karma is real, sir. I totally agree with you. Yes, preach. Nanette, thank you. Terry Gallup says, good evening, everyone. Hello.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, Terry. Good evening to you, too. Yeah, I think that's real important. Okay, so let's I have a couple more questions. We're gonna wrap this up. So, do you believe in love at first sight?
I don't.
Yeah.
Y'all tapped out on that one.
Yeah, I don't.
I believe in attraction. I believe in attraction at first sight, but in order to love you and be in love with you, I need to know you.
Right.
And I don't know you at first sight. Mm-hmm. Now, that may work for somebody else. That might work for somebody else. But for AJ, that doesn't work.
Yeah. Right. I think that the world, the way it's going with all these kind of different shows and stuff, they all, that's the new, it kind of, don't you think that media sometimes could get in your head good enough that it's going to make things normalized, and those type of shows are very popular now.
Yeah.
They're very
popular. What's the show, is a 90-day engagement or something like that? That's the most ridiculous thing to me.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's the most ridiculous thing to me. 90 days.
Oh, well, what about Married at First Sight?
I was going to say, yeah, that one crazy too.
Listen, I wouldn't even watch it because it made no sense to me. I wouldn't even watch it.
Yeah, Marriage at First Sight. But I think the premise of that show, and I thought about it, how we just talked at the beginning of the show, was like, okay, let's be open, let's think about things a little differently. I thought about it and I said, well, I can see a person doing it only because they did it their way for so long, and they didn't get no results, right? So they feel if I could get a doctor, a counselor, a pastor, a relationship coach, to this team of people that's going to actually do all this homework for me and dig and do things that I can never do on my own. Yeah. And they get all this information about this person. It may be something that they could figure out why I'm not meeting that one and then give it a try. So kind of like I see what everybody's saying because, it's really risky, but at least give them kudos for trying something different. You know what I'm saying? They was like, well, I have all these great people working behind the scenes and doing all the investigation for me, and they doing all this stuff and all this chemistry and all this, and they want to see if it works. They tired of doing it on themselves. So I could get the concept of it, but the drama behind it, because it's a TV show, they got to put drama behind it. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it more than what it is. But I see the concept. It's like going to a dating service. You're going to you pay money for these dating services, not like online. I'm talking about the real, like I spent $1,000 dating services and get them to do the homework for you, and then they match you up to the right person. Do y'all think y'all could do something like that?
Well, I would just say before we get started, I looked up the statistics on Married at First Sight, and so they're pushing 59% right now.
That's more than the average. That's more than
that. So I mean, it got to be something to the science of all that work. If they pushing it, I think out of 49, they say 24 decide to stay married. So I mean, what was it like? 29 of them out of 49. So I mean, look, I don't know. I might would try it. I mean, I believe in therapy, but it's such a team of people in the background. Like you thinking like this is a way better chance than I can give it. From just seeing them, but at the same time too, that connection and that genuine person to person before you say yes is man. I guess that's why they give you that decision day though. You get a chance to still get out that thing.
It's unorthodox because you're marrying someone you never saw until you go down the aisle. That's the weird part. That's just weird. I guess the dating services, of course, is totally different. You date and whatever. I don't know about the dating service. I think that if you get a reputable one that knows what they're doing, maybe it's something you could try instead of doing it online. Online, you're technically still doing it yourself. Mm-hmm. You don't have that person that's actually doing it. Well, I mean, what do y'all think about this? Doing something like that? Yeah, think about
You
it.
talk to me?
No, I'm talking about the single ones.
Oh.
About the dating services.
Oh, like Tinder.
No, not online. I'm talking
like
about
a Match.com.
No, a
Okay.
professional. Like you go into a service, like you spend
Like a matchmaker
Oh,
service.
like a matchmaker.
Yeah.
Right, like a professional matchmaker.
I would.
I'm not
I would.
sure that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because I never gave it much thought.
Yeah.
I mean, when someone that has like good results, like how about someone said that out of 100 people, they have 85 people that got married. You know what I'm saying? Someone that has a good track record, would you try it?
Oh yeah, put me in.
You said I had to pay them $1,000.
They're expensive now. They're not cheap.
Oh yeah, you gonna pay?
Oh no. I'll go the natural way. You know, that's a bill. I can pay bills with that. $1,000. That's cable. That's lights. That's gas.
Hey, but if you want, huh?
Now that goes back to God's plan, what you were speaking of, Regina. We never know. We never know which way He's sending that one.
Oh, you can't. That don't even go. That don't even go.
No,
you tried.
You tried.
But he's saying there's so many avenues. What you say that could be the way God puts you.
That's the way He's sending her to you. You don't know. I tell you what, like me, for example, if someone came to me 15 years ago and said, "Hey, you got to go through," and they named everything that I've been through the past 15 years to meet my wife, I would have said no, and I would have lost.
Yeah.
So you don't really know how it's gonna come, but you gotta trust God and keep the faith and prayer. It's gonna guide your heart the right way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
but that's where you hold the faith at. I would if I was in that situation.
Yeah, but that's what they have options. You have options to choose different ways of meeting people. I mean, online, people date online all the time. You date whenever, but that's just another option, another avenue for you to see. So if you haven't thought about it, maybe, look into it. Like I said, AJ said, nah, I'm not spending no G on that. That's straight. We good. We good.
Me and my Social Security check will be happy.
So let's go ahead and get the last comments, and then we'll go ahead and I'll start doing my closings.
Okay. Okay. Nina Glover says, I do not believe in love at first sight. Donna Pazant says, if men show their emotions and the response is negative, they might not feel free to be honest about how they feel with the next.
Mm-hmm. Good point, Donna.
And she said, first of all, people are crazy these days. So first I need to know you before I could even think of loving you.
That's true. Good point.
Exactly. And Terry Gallup said no.
No.
And Lynette says, I would go to one of them services. Let me start my research, finding a dating service.
Uh-oh. Open up those minds. Yeah.
Hey, look, you said 85 and 100. That's very plausible.
I'm telling you, I did.
For $1,000, I'm about to open up my own dating service. Come on, I'll take your business. I'll find you somebody.
Exactly. Please stop finding me a date while I'm working. Okay.
Listen, I'll find you. Come on.
But like I said, I'm so happy about this because this is our year anniversary, and I just wanted to thank, first of all, my Let's Talk crew. Thank y'all for being here and seeing my vision and holding on and being here for this full year. I don't take that for granted because for 2 Sundays out of the year, they have been here, cold-heartedly. So I do appreciate y'all. I love y'all very much. I just want to let y'all know that. Love you. Thank you, my guests. I appreciate it, y'all. This was a special show for me. God gave me a vision a year ago, and Warren was on that show.
Right.
So he came back for the year. So I thank you too, sir, that you came back, and I thank y'all for coming. I hope that y'all come back. I'll rotate my guests, so I'll definitely invite y'all back. Y'all been wonderful. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to do my sponsorship. I'm so proud and so proud that we actually have our first sponsor for our show, Let's Talk tonight. Yes, our first sponsor. I want to recognize. And this is Dr. Marion and Bryant, and she has a book called No More Unclaimed Promises. She's a co-author of this book, and it's about her story of getting her doctorate degree. She's originally from Jamaica, and she had a long journey to get to this point. And she's just telling everybody and giving them encouragement, motivation to be able to continue to do whatever you want to do, not just getting your doctorate, but to kind of press on, and you fall, get back up and continue to do what you do. And so it's No More Unclaimed Promises. Check out her book. She's a co-author with other great, amazing women in the book, telling their stories of them persevering and going through and getting to the finish line. So check her out. You can get her book on Amazon and as well as other locations. So if you're interested, there you go. No More Unclaimed Promises. Dr. Marion Bryant. All right. So next thing I would like to discuss is, if everybody don't know, I am, hold on, what did I just do? Sorry, y'all. I have my own workshop that's starting March 1st. It's called Ring Out Your Sponge. Ring Out Your Sponge is a workshop that I will have, is about ringing out those insecurities and all those things that's holding you down for being that person that you want to be. It's overcoming the obstacles, so you want to be the better you. So I am having this March 1st. We are still looking for a couple of other people. The workshop is free. We just asked for you to order the book on Amazon, and the book is under $10. If you're interested in being part of this great workshop, like I said, it's a free workshop. It's on March 1st. It's four Tuesdays in a week. It's only 1 hour for 4 weeks. And we're going to go through this workbook, and we're going to help you get started to start your new life. If you're interested, please contact me on my website. Is www.letstalk1943.com, or my email is letstalk1943@gmail.com. So please, if you're interested, we do need a couple people to do our beta testing for our workshop, and I would love to have you. So please let me know if you're interested. All right. And our next show, actually, my podcast. So we do have a podcast, Let's Talk 1943. So you'll be able to hear this show and others, all our shows for the last year. So if any platform you have for your podcast, you're able to find us, Let's Talk 1943. So please join us on the podcast world. Our next show is going to be Saturday, September 27th. It's going to be Love and Money. This is going to be very interesting. We have Miss Ray. She's going to tell us that our money is about how we love. Mm-hmm. And the way you love is how you interact with your money. So it's very interesting, and it makes a lot of sense. So I would love for y'all to hear about that. So tune in on Sunday, the 27th. 7 o'clock, our regular time. As you know, that tomorrow's the Super Bowl, so we had to do our show tonight because none of these men plus myself would not be on here. We did it tomorrow.
Yeah, he's like, hello.
We're gonna have a show. So, we ain't gonna miss Mary, Dre, Eminem, and Snoop and Kendrick and all them. So we're gonna definitely be tuning in tomorrow for the Super Bowl. But yeah, so thank y'all for coming on a Saturday. They're my faithful listeners who's always here, and y'all came on today. I appreciate you. I love y'all. Y'all been with me for you've been rocking with us for a year. So I appreciate you so much. I'm gonna go around the horn for final words. So I'm gonna just start over from where I see. So Kenneth, you want to start?
Yeah. I would just say as we close out, first off, congratulations to you all for the hard work and for making it a year. Trust me, man, I started this thing for my podcast with me and a friend and a microphone in between us. And so as we up to like 6,000 subscribers and we steady pushing, I just want to say congratulations. I do know how hard it is to get one. Now, but closing out, just remembering, be selective, right? You have the right to be selective with who you choose, and develop your skill set inside that relationship, because you have to constantly be evolving to, like Ms. Andrews said, keep it spicy. You got to be able to constantly evolve, but that takes learning yourself, learning your other person, and learning those skill sets to keep relationships afloat. So that's it, man. Be selective, hire and fire as you must.
That's right. That's right. Warren?
I know that's right. That's what I
said. That's right.
Hey, well, thank you again for having me, Regina, Carla, Andrea. Congratulations, 1 year. Amazing work. I love your new platform and everything. I just love it. So congratulations. And thank you again for having me on this at the 1 year anniversary. I just want to say to everybody, just love yourself. You have to love yourself in order for you to love anybody else. That is so important. The other thing that's so important for relationships to be something that's going to grow and to expound is if you have to have anything at the center, it needs to be God. God needs to be at the center. And I know a lot of people say, I'll put God first and stuff like that. But the problem with putting God first is that he's there at the top and he's not in anything else. So if you put him in the center, then that means he's going to be whatever you have first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So put him in the center of your life, all the challenges that you will go, and you will go through challenges in marriages and relationships, but you will be able to get through it. I mean, as hard as they may be, if you go on your knees and you pray to God, God will bring you through. He'll give you a way out, and he'll change the way you feel about certain things. So I'm a that and stuff, and that's why, like I said before, I'm 19, going on 20 years now, and I thank God for him keeping me. So I thank you again for allowing me to be here and just share a little bit from my heart.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. AJ?
Well, this is my first time here. Regina, thank you for the invitation. I was actually shocked when you reached out to me, and I'm like, why she want me to talk about stuff? But you know what? I welcome the opportunity to share my thoughts and my heartfelt feelings when it comes to relationships. Again, I don't take relationships lightly. I don't take love lightly. I don't take partnerships lightly. And that's why I'm very careful in how I move and operate in doing so. To Carla and Andrea, it's been great meeting you all. You all are funny, and anybody that makes me laugh is cool with me. And Carla, next time I come to Atlanta, we going to Mary Mac's and hang out. So
all right, I have never been there, so yeah.
Oh yeah, we're going there. To the brothers, I enjoy each one of you. Warren, you make me want to be married. You know? Again, like I said, I grew up in a two-parent household, and I saw the growth in my parents, as a child to being grown, and just how they grew as a couple and how they handled things. And, like you said, nothing's perfect. There are ups and downs, but those ups and downs created the glory that they had in their relationship. They were married 59 years before my father passed away. And, I won't have 59 years, but if I could have 10% of what they had, I'd be ecstatic.
It's beautiful. That's beautiful. You said why I reached out to you, and I'm gonna tell you why. God leads me, and when He leads me, I follow. So it was something that one of that post that you had put out there that made me this resonate, and I was like, you know what? I think he'll be great for this show. And I believe that when God does that, it's supposed to be. It's not for me. It's for you.
I didn't say nothing crazy, did I?
You wouldn't be on the show. You did.
Well, it was one time.
What you say, Kenneth?
Oh no, I was messing with AJ. I was like, well, it was that one time.
So, like I said, I hope that this was a blessing to you as well. I mean, I enjoyed you too. Carla?
I just want to say thank you for coming on, guys. I like hearing it's good to hear from a male's perspective, because we're so used to hearing about other women and our experiences, and it's very similar. But hearing that there are men out there that are working on themselves, trying to build their emotional intelligence, and also a married person who is proponent of marriage and is happy in his marriage and is not, as bold about that. And then another person who's in our age group who is single and he's out here trying to figure it out and trying to find his one. So, it's a great blend for for the show. And I just want to thank y'all for sharing your insight with us. I appreciate y'all all. Thank you.
Yeah, Andrea.
Beautiful. Just congratulations, Regina, on 1 year. It's been a great year. And I too want to thank you all for coming on and being so open and transparent. It's not always easy to share your truth, and you did so tonight. So thank you so much. And I know that You were a blessing to so many people. We may not hear read the comments or hear the remarks, but I know that there was something that you shared tonight that really helped someone. So we thank you so much, and keep telling your story. Keep being a blessing wherever you go.
That's right. Amen.
Yeah.
And I would say to close this out is, when I first started this with the vision, I came to my girls and I said, it's Valentine's Day. And we need to give hope to these women out here to let them know that they are still someone just because they don't have anyone for that one day. Don't, make it seem that you're not worth anything. You're the same on the 13th, 14th, and the 15th. There's nothing going to change. And that was my vision, because I just felt that a lot of women feel the way this world is designed, that you're supposed to feel less than when you're single. And what I see in the Bible is singleness is one of the best parts of your life. Being single is supposed to be, God designed it to be one of the best things in your life, because that's your discovery period. And that's when you do your thing and then get closer to him and then give yourself to service, serve others, and learn yourself. And that's what you need to focus on, and not focus on because you don't have anyone in your life. And that's where this started from, literally from that to where we at today. And I have grown so much in this last year with people like you, the panelists, learning from y'all and learning from our guests and learning from these people that we have. I grew out of this. I became a better person out of this. So I just want to thank everyone who's been on our show. Like I said, we had over 43 guests on our show this year. And that's a blessing in its own, to be able to get 43 people to be on the show last year. So thank you so much for that. So as we close out, like I said, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Please join us in 2 weeks on the 27th for Love and Money. Until next time, invite a friend. Let's meet again. Until next time, God bless. We love you. Thank you so much.
Bye.